Hello, everyone. We are going to take some time and explore Georgia O'Keeffe today. So, real quick, everything you're seeing here is included in your Georgia O'Keeffe Modern Art Explorer kit. If you don't have this kit, you can easily get one. We actually have a partnership with the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum. You can actually purchase these through their museum shop. It's a great way to extend that museum experience to kids. So I'll include links at the bottom of this video so that if you don't have one, you can get one. But really the focus is if you have it, these are the activities we're going to be doing. I do a video for each activity, and I always like to start with who is Georgia O'Keeffe and just talk a little bit more about her before we explore the artwork. So this is just going to be a quick video where we talk about Georgia. We're going to also look at some of her artwork. These are some of the art activities and some of her artworks. I'm actually going to push these though to the side, and we're going to focus here first, and then we'll move to some quotes. That way we can start to really think about how did Georgia think, what was her perspective, how did she view the things in her art that she created. So first, I think I want to start with these words that inspire you here. So this postcard is something that with every art activity that we do, I would keep this one close. You can set it to the side. You can, if you're doing the art activities once a week, just bring it back as a refresher. But these are some words that really describe the artist. And Georgia O'Keeffe was an artist. She was an American artist. And so this first label here, American Modernism, I want to talk to you about this now. So this is a big word. It's probably a new word for us, and that's okay. First, it signals a period of time with art. Every period of time, whenever there is a group of art that is from the same time period or some similar experiences or similar perspectives, people will group them into themes. And so Georgia O'Keeffe has been grouped into the theme American Modernism. Often, when you're talking about Georgia O'Keeffe, you're going to hear American modernism. She's really closely tied to this art movement. And really, it's just a cultural movement in time. It's a time period where there were some similar artists exploring similar themes and telling some similar stories. Now, really, there's a few things, and I don't have them to show, but I'll just talk to you about them. Georgia was an artist that was known for painting nature. And so I know that's here, there's desert landscapes. Maybe we'll just actually skip down to that one real quick. So nature really inspired Georgia, and throughout her life, she was finding new perspectives on nature. Whether it was simple flowers that she was by, clouds, whether it was buildings that surrounded her, or landscapes. They really spoke to her, and she spent a lot of time reimagining them with paints and watercolors and different materials. I also think it's important that you know that in our kit we explore watercolor, but Georgia experimented with all kinds of different colors. She did oils and pastels and watercolor, and she even did some photography. She actually married someone who was a photographer. His name was Alfred Stieglitz, but later in her life, she also was taking some images. And so she really explored and experimented with everything she could that would help her make the art that she wanted to make. So I think that's important to take home with you, to know that you can spend a whole lifetime exploring new materials and new ways to visually represent the simple things around you. All right, so now I'm gonna come back up here, bold color. Now I'm gonna pull these out, and when I say bold color, I'm gonna just set this off to the side. These are some artworks, and these are all the anchors and inspiration points for our art activities. But you can see here that her use of color is bold and strong. And what I mean by bold, and maybe we should talk about what bold means to you. This could be a good question that you explore with others. But the colors really stand out. So kind of just show you some different ones there. And so bold color, her use of color, her colors and lines. In every painting that you ever see of George's, you're going to be first very interested in the color and then the lines. And it's just a unique way she uses them. Now, the other thing is abstraction. So this is a great example of some of her abstraction work. Really, you can think about abstraction as simplifying. So it doesn't look like a photograph. It's a very simple rendition of something that we might see. Like, for example, evening star. This is a star in the sky. And not only has she extracted this into very simple shapes, but there's an emotional component to this with the simplification and the bold use of color. And so we talk about all these things as individual labels, but together they really tell a story. So it's this bold color, this abstraction, and these landscapes in nature. So we talked a little bit about this already, but nature was really important to her. And actually, in all of the activities in your art kit, whether it's the evening star, number 5, or Black Mesa landscape, these are all landscapes in nature. And then sunrise and little clouds, which is a cloud exploration activity in an artwork that she did. So as we think about that, I wanted you just to get familiar and comfortable with seeing work from Georgia. I also wanted to spend a little bit of time reading some quotes. So these quotes are really meant to inspire you. And it's her in her own words. And so these are all things that Georgia has said. And I think that this will really help frame your perspective of her, the way you see her as you look at her work and as you try to reimagine her artwork. So, first, one of her quotes is, "I found I could say things with colors and shapes that I couldn't say any other way, things I had no words for." Then she goes on to say, "I have things in my head that are not like what anyone else has taught me. Shapes and ideas so near to me, so natural to my way of being and thinking, that it hasn't occurred to me to put them down. I often painted fragments of things because it seemed to make my statement as well as or better than the whole could. I had to create an equivalent for what I felt about what I was looking at, not copy it." I'm going to pause there. This is a one I want to just give a little bit of time to talk about. So she wanted to create, she had to create an equivalent for what she felt she was looking at, not copy it. So that's where it's different than a photograph. You take a photograph of something and it looks exactly like what everyone else sees. When you take away that photo lens and you really create something from your feelings and your emotions, you actually add a whole new way of looking at it. It's not just a copy at that point, it's you've reimagined it. You've used your new perspective. And so I want to just pull out a little bit there because I'd love for you to use that as you explore art. None of the art activities that we do are supposed to look like this. These are all just inspiration points for you. Together with your own perspective, the ways that you like to use color, the way you see the world, that is what I want to see from your paintings. And that's how I want you to explore creativity. You don't have to get caught up in, oh, it has to look like this, or it has to be perfect, or if it doesn't look like this, it's not good. That is not the process of art. Art is really about exploring, observing, and then using the way you feel and the way you look at things and reimagining them. So, okay, I'll keep going. My last one is, when you take a flower in your hand and really look at it, it's your world for the moment. I want to give that world to someone else. Most people in the city rush around, so they have no time to look at a flower. I want them to see it whether they want to or not. So there's some quotes, there's some fun things to think about. These are both in your art activity kit. So if you have questions about these quotes, if you still have questions about these, there's some great resources that I'll actually add to this video so that you can see. And I really encourage you to explore and discover as much as you can about Georgia. In the art kit, you do have a book. That's a really nice starting point to look at these postcards, look at the book, and then do the art activities. But if you want to start with the art and do the book later, that works too. I think it's just important that you know that you have those resources, but it's up to you on how you use them. So I am excited for you to explore Georgia O'Keeffe, and I am looking forward to doing all of the art activities with you. So I will see you soon. Until then.